Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla, coming back to you with another episode of Car Rides with Schla. And today we are a little bit concerned because traffic could be an issue, and it could be more of an issue than usual, perhaps even. We will have to see. So stay tuned. This could be a very nice long episode of Car Rides with Schla, but hopefully it won't be because you obviously don't want there to be traffic, but I guess a special treat for y'all. I don't really have anything I wanted to talk about necessarily. I didn't check the tracking for the plosive filter because it didn't come up the first time I checked. And then I tried checking it again, and it still wasn't coming up. So I kind of gave up. But I'm assuming by now or tomorrow when I look at it, it will be there, which would be good information to know. I'm hoping that the current setup has been good enough. I don't know that I've done a lot of listening, so there could be pretty critical flaws with the current setup. And that would not be good, of course. We will have to wait and see. We will just have to wait and see. I know the stand is supposed to come tomorrow, so that's great. At least I know that next week's entire catalog will be recorded properly. And that's a good thing. Now, not Friday, because of course it arrives Friday, but it's not going to be until I get home from work that it's actually there to use. But at least it gives me a little more peace of mind that the backup recording should be better. Because again, not only are we going to be using the camera in the back, which should enable the use of a better microphone array, but it will also, the phone will be physically closer to me because that phone stand specifically is longer. It's more of an arm that comes out. So the backup audio quality, I would hope, should be noticeably better. We'll have to wait and see, and hopefully that time does not reach us. But if it does, I'm hoping it's going to be better. Video quality will obviously be better, but that's not really affecting you guys at the moment, but someday it might. What do we have to talk about? I realized that there is some potential silver lining to me getting the 16 Pro as opposed to waiting for the 17. I know we had talked about it, and I had said I was upset. And I still kind of am a little bit. But here's my thoughts about it. Apple's been doing the color black for a long time, as far as I know. I don't have specific metrics on it, but I was around in the time where the 5S was space gray, and that really bothered me. I'm not personally a fan of space gray. I don't like it. I like black. I think black looks good. I don't think space gray looks good. It never rubbed me the right way. And the original iPhone 5 came in black, and I always thought that looked good, but I thought space gray was horrible, which evidently made me go with gold for the 5S because it was the new special color. But I think in the long term, I really started to like silver. But regardless, I never liked space gray, but here's the thing. They've done it for so long, and the iPhone 17 is finally going to deviate with the camera bump design. So I have a feeling Apple might go back to space gray. I don't think it would be out of the question for them to have some sort of alternative black color, given the nature of this new, different kind of release. I think I wouldn't be shocked about it. That's for sure. Now, the reason that's more speculative, but I do think it's possible. And if the 16 Pro did not have black, that would be kind of frustrating because I'm really liking the color black a lot recently. And so I was really set on getting a black phone. So if I had waited until the 17 and then they didn't even have black, that would have been ridiculous. So now the other thing is there's rumors that they're going to ditch titanium, which there could be a few reasons for that. A, being their tariffs now and them needing to really focus more on cutting costs and stuff. B, since they're going to be having more of the back covered with metal, I think it might be ridiculously too expensive for them to do all that titanium. Because right now they're able to get away. It's just like the perimeter of the phone. There's nothing on the back. It's not that much titanium. But if they had to do this new, more metal back design and in titanium, it would be very costly. So there's been speculation they're going to go back to aluminum, and I would not like that because I don't know if I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but I really love things that feel good. I love to feel high-end materials, and it's easily my favorite thing about Apple products is the fact that they're just always high-end. It really means a lot to me. Their hardware, at least in my experience with the devices I've felt, always is the highest build quality. So it means a lot to me, and I may have lucked out by mistakenly getting this and not realizing, hey, the 17's about to come out. You should probably just wait for that. Now, then I realized what would have been perfect is if I got the 16 Pro standard and just used it, still the 1 terabyte high storage, but used it as just a camera phone. It would be a little more small, and I think it would be a perfect fit for what I'm doing. And then I could just get the 17 Pro Max in a low storage model and just use that as my actual phone. And then that would be the best of both worlds, because we know that while there may be minor differences with cameras, I don't really think that there's going to be too much of a difference, honestly. What I mean by that is I really feel like the cameras are getting so good that the rear camera on the 16 Pro, I can't really imagine how the rear camera on the 17 Pro is going to be that much better, specifically for what I'm doing, because I haven't even decided if I want to do 4K yet or not. So 1080p, a human's face at fairly close range with the rear camera, I just can't imagine that there's that much more to improve, especially for 1080p. I could be wrong, but I really feel like we're just getting to that point where the quality is so high, I don't think there would be much of a difference. There's also not likely to be any microphone improvements because they just fully revamped the mic system on the 16 Pro, so they probably are not really going to touch it for the 17 Pro because they hadn't done that in a while anyway. So I think that's not something they're going to do commonly. And so that leaves us with what could have been the perfect storm, a small phone that I essentially use as a camera with a lot of storage. And then I could have got the Pro Max in the 17 because it would have been newer, faster, etc. And it would have been a good fit. It would have been a really good combination. But now we will have a slightly less optimal combination, but still potentially good, if I even decide to buy the 17, because, and I don't know if I definitely talked about it. The 16 Pro is so fast. It's like the first phone I've ever used where the speed really feels good enough. It just does. Like, I think it's the first phone that it's fast enough. It's very fast at doing the things I want it to do. And I'm very happy about that. I can't even, I don't know. I mean, obviously, in a couple years, there's always going to be faster stuff, but it's very nice to use. And I've never felt that way about a piece of technology, really. And then the reception has also been better. I don't know if I went into it, but Apple removed an antenna band that used to be on the older models, that used to be on the side, similar looking to the lock button in size and shape. I think it was on the other side of where the lock button is. On my 14 Plus, it has it. And for the 16 Pro, I don't know about the standard 16, but for the 16 Pro, Apple removed it. And then they have that camera button now, which is nice, but them removing that specific antenna band is risky because that's typically where extra bands for LTE, which is better for poor reception areas and when you have poor reception. So I was worried, and when I put it into ChatGPT, it said that some people report worse reception in low reception areas or indoors with the 16 Pro because Apple silently removed those extra bands. However, I have not noticed that. The reception on the 16 Pro is absolutely better than my 14 standard. My 14 standard did not have good reception. It would really frequently drop out and stuff and was just really annoying. I have not had a single dropout with this 16 Pro. Not a single one. I've always had connection so far. Now that could be a fluke. And obviously as time goes on, we will see. There was one time, I guess it was near dropping out because I remember I was sending something and it like took a bit to do, but it didn't actually come up with any type of connection error or anything, and nothing like that has popped up. Now I have only used it for a week, but compared to my other phone, easily very noticeable improvement in cellular performance, which is super valuable to me. And so if the 17 Pro has additional reception improvement, I'm going to keep my eye out on that. But it depends. It really depends, because if the improvements are in places that don't really matter to me, I might stick with this one, especially if this one's titanium like I like, and the new one is just aluminum. That's going to be no good for me. I'm just not going to like it. I had no idea what I was going to talk about, but I definitely didn't think it was going to be iPhones. But that's okay. That's okay. I don't really know what else there is to discuss exactly. Oh, yes. I was looking into headphones. So the headphones I have narrowed down is I really have always liked haptic anything. And that's another reason why I like Apple, because Apple just seems to have the best haptic technology out of any of the brands. I mean, it's possible that Samsung lets you tune it up, like crank it up. But Apple's is definitely the best if they let you crank it. And I just have always been fascinated and love haptics. It's so interesting to me. And so Razer has haptic technology in their headphones, which is a thing that I really wish a high-end audio company would implement something like that, haptics in a good quality headphone, but it still has not happened, which is very sad. But Razer has it in this Kraken Pro V4. And apparently Razer's audio quality has improved dramatically, because in the past, and I have the Razer Nari Ultimates, which were their old and I believe initial haptic headphone that they had released, it was not, and it isn't really that good of a sound quality, and you can kind of tell. And Razer always had that expectation, but these recent Razer Kraken Pro V4s, they actually are adequate. A lot of people say there is actually a distinguishable improvement, and it is not utter garbage like previous Razer headsets typically were. Now, I think that this has to do with just general technological maturity. I think that we're getting to the point where it is just becoming so in the end game of manufacturing headphone drivers that even cheap ones are just pretty good. Now, I don't think we're in the end game yet, but I think we're going to see, like, fairly soon, and in some ways we already are, you can just get headphones for pretty cheap that are really good. And that was never the case before. And I just think it has to do with further advancements. At this point, it's been so many years. It's been so many years, and it's been so many years. Sorry, I have to merge because there is an ambulance and stuff coming through. So I just tried to get over. That was what the pause was about. My bad, guys. Yeah, I got out of the way, like, kind of just in the nick of time, so it was relevant. That's a shame. That's probably what the traffic is about. I wonder if it came through on the mic. This mic is actually really good at reducing background noise, though. I honestly, in my listening of things, it's obviously still apparent, but it is not super prominent or obvious, the background. Well, actually, wait. I was going to shift back over, but I don't know. With that ambulance there, I'm kind of skeptical of doing that. So, although now it looks like there's zero traffic. I wonder if that's misleading, though. Because there is that ambulance. That makes me think there's worse traffic ahead. I'm not entirely sure what to think. But it looks very open right now. I'm not used to being in the center lane. I, like, live in the right lane. And so this is very disorienting. I just feel so out of place being here. I guess it's good for me, though. It shouldn't be like that. That's very concerning. I did speed up quite a bit, but it is looking like there could be some braking going on up ahead. I'm not entirely sure. I always try to predict and try to drive properly, but anyways. Yes, the headphones. I really like how they look, and I like having all the software and extra complicated technology like that. I think the main thing that is upsetting to me is the lack of active noise canceling. If they had that, I would be really happy with them as just a fool-around pair of headphones. So happy. But they don't have that, and to me, I really like active noise canceling a lot. I'm just really into it. There's something so peaceful about it, and it definitely really lets you, I don't even know, just go to another place entirely. It's such a experience to me. And that may be over dramatic, but I don't really feel that it's that over dramatic. I don't know. It's something that's very interesting and important to me. Now, that being said, I stumbled upon this pair of headphones, and I don't know if this is how you pronounce it, but I assume it is, and they're called the Focal Bathys. and I had never heard of them before, but they're only 500 something brand new. And I know like that is a lot, but it's honestly, to me, it's not that much considering they are a super high-end headphone that is still Bluetooth and has active noise canceling. And it's a unique brand that's a very high-end, like, interesting brand. And the design is really cool, too. I think it's probably better designed than, like, most headphones I've seen. And I'm really into it. So I'm thinking it over. I may buy it tomorrow because I want to have a good pair of headphones to mix and EQ my vocals for these podcasts with, because the headphones I have right now are just not good. And the Kraken Pro V4 was going to be a minor improvement to hold me over while I thought over what I wanted. But since stumbling on this focal Bathys, I know what I want now. I don't know what else can really compete with that. So I think we're pretty locked in, but I didn't want to buy it quite yet. I wanted to think it over first. And I still may get the Krakens as a fun headphone, but like I said, the active noise canceling may just take the cake for me. And I may like that so much that it delays or outright eliminates my desire for the Kraken. As much as I still want the Kraken to fool around with, we'll see what I end up doing. I'm thinking about it right now. But I'm really thinking about those focal Bathys because I want a good pair of headphones. I've actually never had that good of a pair of headphones. I have good earbuds. You can actually see on my channel which ones they are. The real fans will know because I love them. And I actually don't get to use them that much, though, because I'm not home and, I'm usually just using AirPods when I'm out and about. So they don't get a lot of use, sadly, but they're still probably the prettiest earbuds in my opinion. I really like them, those ones that I got. But I've never had good headphones, and I think it's definitely time for a pair, especially with what I'm trying to do now. So that's where we're at. I finally think I found something that exists that checks a lot of boxes, and I think is overall a good thing. I'm not really sure what else I was going to talk about. I didn't know that we were just going to get into a bunch of products. That I did not see coming. I'm trying to think, did I look into any car things? Because I think we talked about cars. Was that yesterday? I guess I was thinking of some ideas. I was wondering if I should merge the morning and night shifts into just one video. But I don't really think that makes sense. It would probably be better for views, but I don't really agree with it because in terms of artistic expression, it is actually very, at least in my perspective, it's very critical for the two videos to be distinct. They were recorded at very different times. One is going to work, one is leaving work. The vibes are usually very different. And I think merging them into one video it would be algorithmic optimization, but it's not very unique, and it takes away a lot of the specialness of what I'm doing. So I don't think I'm going to do that. But I obviously think about things a lot. Even if I don't follow through with an idea, I always try to think of different ideas just to try to figure out what's best or ideal. That's always it. It's always the case. Always trying to think of different, better. But sometimes what I'm already doing is already best. I also still really should buy storage, but I'm putting that off because I don't absolutely need it yet. I still have a decent amount of storage, but it will run out eventually, so that's something I have to keep in mind. But probably something I am best off just putting off anyway, because it's really not like imperative that I get new storage. I am recording a lot of content, and it's obviously taking up a lot of storage, but now that I have a terabyte iPhone, that's actually keeping that set for a long time. Because each episode is like almost 4 gigabytes. It's usually 3 point something. So let's just round up to 4 to say it like, you know, I don't know that an episode's ever been 4 gigabytes. That hour-long one, the traffic jam, which was actually this week. It's hard to believe that the week already went by so fast. I love doing these videos. I just feel like it lifts me up so much, and it makes life so good and fast. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to do these videos, even though nobody's watching them. Although I did look, and I am noticing views trickle upward. So that is, I mean, it's still in the single digits, but I'm actually pretty happy with what's going on. I mean, I'm noticing views have continued, which is very nice to see. Like all around, some episodes a little more than others. And I don't know, I feel good about it. I'm feeling pretty good about things. But yeah, it's been such an interesting week. That happening on Monday, I can't believe that was so long ago. It still is very there in my mind. It was such a memorable thing, and I can't believe it was so long ago. And it even feels good how joyously I reacted to it, because if that had happened earlier, like even just months ago, I would have just spazzed out and been so upset. But no, I mean, I really kept my cool, and it became fun just because I was recording. If I wasn't recording, that would not have been a fun experience. I can assure you it would not have been a fun experience. But speaking of fun experiences, I wanted to calculate the storage thing. So even we're just going to round up and say 4 gigabytes. I've never seen an episode with 4 gigabytes. That hour-long one probably is. It's probably like 4 point something. Because if like 30 minutes is like 3 point something, it's probably like, right, an hour could be 6 then, right? Because I was thinking it's like a gigabyte every 10 minutes is what it seems like. Or probably a little less than that. Probably a little bit less. Yeah, because some of the 40-minute videos, I think, were 3 point something. So no, I think maybe the hour 10-minute one could have been like 4 or 5, somewhere around there. That's what I think. But anyways, that's an abnormality. If we're going to conclude a safe overestimate, I think we just say 4 for convenience sake. And 4 times 100 is 400 gigabytes, which would still only have me at 50%, not even 50. Well, yeah, we'll just round up for the sake of argument. 100 episodes is half of my storage on the phone. So that's before needing to back it up to the computer. And the thing is, 100 episodes, I do 10 a week. So that's 10 weeks. So that easily gives me 10 weeks of time before I actually need to buy storage. And even if I did wait for those 10 weeks, I still have, let's see, I think I have like almost 2 terabytes still. Almost. And a lot of that is taken up by junk, so technically I could probably free up a good amount of gigabytes. So I'm saying I need to get more storage. Unless I started doing 4K video, which that would change things, I still have 10 to 20 weeks at least of time. I probably have more. And even if I did 4K, I'd probably have a decent amount of time because I'm really overestimating with a lot of this stuff. So I think I have at least 10 weeks before I'd actually need to buy storage. So I think I should just hold off on it because there's a lot of other things that I would like to have, like the better headphones or even a better mic for the car, that are just way more critical than, as critical as storage is, there's just other things that are more critical for the moment. Now, the thing about the better car mic is it's a bit tricky of a proposition, only because I already think this one is so good, and even at repelling background noise, I mean, I can hear background noise in those recordings, but I don't hear that much. I don't hear that much background noise. I just shifted accidentally. A lot of times when I'm talking, it sort of alters my shifting concentration, but I wanted to hold it in 3 and I just shifted in 4 because I wasn't really paying attention. It is what it is, but I try to be better than that. I mean, that's not up to my standard. But I noticed the background noise, it's really not very prevalent. I don't know if it's, I do think though that I mixed things too bright. So that could be a problem. I mean, it could give it the illusion that it's masking background noise better than it is, because since it's brighter, you don't really have to turn the volume up as much in order to hear it clearly. But I didn't even do any, I'm sure there could be some type of effect that reduces background noise or something. I didn't even do anything like that. So I'm very impressed, especially with how cheap I got. I got this mic for $60, which was a really good deal because they usually could go for even used like 100 or 100 something. And I only spent 60, it's just really good. So as long as it doesn't break anytime soon or anything like that, I think I really lucked out. And in order to get better mics, it's easily $300 to $400. And I don't know how worth it that is for most likely what will only be minor tweaks in background noise. I just think this mic sounds really good, especially, raw, maybe it leaves a little bit to be desired. But once you put the effects on it and stuff, I think this mic really sounds good. I listened to it and it satisfies me a lot. It feels good to listen to. And that's so interesting coming out of a small mic. I forgot to mention too, I don't even have that plosive filter is gonna help, or it should help. Because it's actually a pretty heavy duty one meant for more noisy environments. I don't even know did I ever shift out of 4th? No, I had to. Did I shift back into 4th again mistakenly? Did I do the same thing even though I just pointed it out? It's a pretty heavy duty plosive filter that's meant for like outdoor use, or in this case, in-car recording, and kind of trying to mitigate a lot of the background noises. So it's actually going to be really fitting. And I think it should improve things. It should also make it so I can have it closer to my mouth, which is better, because it should buffer things a little bit better than the contraption I have right now, where I have to have it a little bit further from my mouth, which obviously makes it more likely to pick up background noise. But overall, super impressed with this mic. I think it sounds great. When I listen to it, I don't really catch myself thinking like, oh, I wish this was better. I mean, it's really there. It's really very present already. So I think someday, knowing me, I'm gonna look into an even better mic. But for the time being, I'm pretty satisfied. But I really am. I mean, I really like to have the best. Like, I really want to look into, and I know it's gonna be like $300 or $400, and it's like an awful lot of money for something that I already feel like I have it pretty good. Again, the thing I have now, and especially we'll have to see how it sounds with the plosive filter, which I have no idea if that's even going to come yet or not, because I tried checking the tracking, but I didn't really, it wasn't updating. So it said it shipped, but I don't know if it actually shipped or if just the tracking number was generated. And today is Thursday. Well, I think it's Thursday. Is it really Thursday already? It's been like that. It's been like that since I've been doing this show, but specifically this week. I think now that I'm comfortable with it, or I'm getting more comfortable with the show and with speaking, this has been just such a wonderful outlet. I just can't get over it. Truly. It's just been a wonderful experience. And I still think the best is yet to come. I'm not trying to be worried. Now, I feel like this episode was a little more boring. But, I don't know, it's just different. Like, I do talk about, this is me. This is stuff I do like to talk about. Gadgets and stuff. Cars sometimes. There's a lot of things I like to talk about. It's not just deep stuff. It's not just political stuff always. And again, I almost haven't really felt very compelled to venture there. So I guess I'm just going with the flow. Because I've just felt pretty good, pretty at peace. Like, my mind's not really rampant. I've done a lot. I have a lot of the things I've wanted. What else is there? You know, that's basically how I feel like. The only further things are big. You know, how I want to turn my podcast into my career. I want my blacked out Range Rover. Things like that. Which could be sooner than I think. Really could be. It's just going to be so interesting listening to these videos in the future and how they stack up. Because I am so far from my peak. I think even in a few months, because I already said this, I really think my speaking has improved just in, what is this, the third week I've done it? It's gotta be. It's gotta have been the third week. It's only been 3 weeks. I haven't even had 1 month under my belt. And I feel like I'm noticeably better at speaking. I notice that I'm using a lot less filler words. I've really worked hard to eliminate from my usage, and I don't really think I use it that much anymore. Now, I don't know if I re-listen to them back if I'll notice it more, but I don't really think I've used it. And I was using it a lot at first, and I think that could have had to do with just getting in the groove of things, getting used to everything. There was a lot. At first, it was just the phone. That was one thing. Getting used to the mic was another. It was a whole lot to take in. I also have been doing better with other fillers, but I did notice myself in this episode I was using like a bit more than I'd like, and more so than previous episodes, which I'm not a fan of that. But like I said, like is a much better sounding word to me than Now, I guess that's just preference, because I do remember my 6th grade teacher really hated it. So everybody has their own pet peeves, and I need to figure these things out. But I noticed in one of the vice presidential debates there, I just slipped in the of course, right when I'm talking about it. Of course. Anyways, in one of the vice presidential debates, they were both saying a lot. And so that kind of made me feel better about things, because if people who are vice presidential candidates are still using the filler words, I'm probably better than a lot of people, because I don't even think I use them that much, considering the speed with which I talk and the topics I'm talking about and stuff. I guess "and stuff" is a filler too. There's probably just a better way to give a general acknowledgement of things than "and stuff." And I might still use "so." I notice I use. I'm working on it, guys, but this is a process. And I'm not really trying overly hard, because I'm still trying to enjoy, but it does bug me too. I'm sure some people don't even notice, but I'm really trying to be very good at communicating and there's just no way and so also have to go. It gets tricky though, because you have to calculate when it actually is completely fine and appropriate to use and or so, and when it just becomes like a constant thing that is just bad. There is that to keep in mind. And when you're on autopilot talking, sometimes it's difficult to calculate all that, but I guess it just comes from habit. And eventually that would be the idea, that someday it would all be very automatic and it would just come to me, which is good. And that's what I'm hoping for. I don't remember what I was going to talk about now. Oh, I do now. Yeah, if the vice presidential candidates are using those words and I'm not as much as they were. Now, I guess there's a lot more pressure, so maybe I would be nervous too. And then it would lead to more stall words. Oh, I remember what I was saying. A lot of people don't talk as much as me, so I notice, and of course there's so, but let's think, would that be applicable in that setting? A lot of people don't use filler words like me, so, or would I just say a lot of people don't use filler words like me? No, because then I want to say and. A lot of people don't use filler words like me and. Maybe so is correct. I don't know how else I would say that. A lot of people don't use filler words like I do, but yeah, I think there has to be a transition there. I could be completely wrong though, because I am driving, I'm not really. But for me, I usually talk so much more and say things so much faster that it just happens. I'm definitely getting better though. I am. I don't think I'm using them as much, and I'm hoping that has been shown. I'm hoping that has been shown. I'm starting to second guess myself too much. Maybe this is a dangerous road we're on. Maybe it's sabotage. Anyways, believe it or not, it is somehow already time for TLDR's Wish Lot. Today we talked about some comparisons with iPhones and how I may have lucked out with this accidental purchase and how much better it is over my previous phone. Then I don't remember what we talked about after that. I had remembered, but then I forgot. I think we just talked about how I was happy to do the show, getting used to stuff, and then we ended it with talking about filler words, something like that. These TLDDRs with schla are pretty hard. I thought it was going to be easier to do, so it's going to be in training. It's TLDRs with schla in training, okay? But anyways, that's the show. Bye, schla. Schla out.